deep dive, here we go. Friday at the South Point, Chris Andrews and his crew released Week 1 college football lines. This is great. And how about this? Some major moves already. And the season starts Saturday, August 26th. How good is that? It's only about 4 or 5 games. We have another game in Australia as well with Rice and Stanford. All right, Boise at home against Troy. Troy had a good year last year. Remember, they gave Clemson fits on the road. Opened 5 all the way up to 11. Remember, Boise stunk ATS last year at home.
Yeah, they sure did, but the betting market's saying that blue turf is still worth something, especially early in the season. This one of the bigger line moves, and don't forget, when we're talking about these type of moves at this stage of the betting season, where one book's open numbers and they're taking action, it doesn't take a lot of money to move these numbers, and it takes 2, 3, 4 bets, and you can see a line move like this one of 6 full points.
Yep, you were allowed to bet $1,000 per game. Okie State opened 10 against Tulsa, all the way up to 17 at home. Tulsa had a good year last year.
Oh, yeah, they had a really hot offense last year and gave some pretty good teams trouble. But certainly the early money on Okie State saying that Tulsa defense is likely to have a hard time getting any stops versus the Cowboys offense. Okie State has the potential to score a whole bunch of points this year, and Tulsa's defense may not be up to the task.
Western Michigan and USC, no Fleck, no Corey Davis. USC 19 up to 22.
Sure, this is not the last time that USC is going to take money this year, and it's not the last time the markets are going to be going against Western Michigan. The Broncos, at least the feel I'm getting around town is that a lot of people thinking that Western Michigan, a one-year wonder, and now that Fleck is gone, things will be very, very different in Kalamazoo.
South Florida, 25 down to 21 against San Jose State. Taggart leaves, goes to Oregon.
Yeah, and Quentin Flowers is back for USF, not Marlon Mack, and as you mentioned, not Willie Taggart, who was instrumental in that turnaround. Pretty big early move towards San Jose State. I think it's more against USF than on the Spartans.
Navy, a 21-point favorite, down to 18 against Florida Atlantic. They want some Lane Kiffin.
They sure do. They're betting on, I think they're betting on Kiffin's ability to recruit some athletes. And when you talk about a Navy team that doesn't necessarily match up particularly well against athletic competition, 18 points, it feels like a lot. And 21 points felt like too much for at least 1 or 2 bettors from the openers.
Chris Andrews has Wisconsin power rated very high. We'll talk about that more tomorrow on Games of the Year. But they open up 37 at home against Utah State, bet down to 34, Aggies money.
Yeah, I mean, back-to-back rough years for the Aggies. But somebody out there thinks they'll be able to get some stops versus that Badgers running game. The better Utah State teams defensively have been able to get stops, even against Power 5 conference competition.
Northern Illinois opened 2 against BC. Now BC's the favorite. They're -2.
Well, I mean, funny. You look last year, the Huskies went 0-4 straight up out of conference. They were focused on the MAC games. And BC only won 2 games in conference, and yet they finished the season 7-6 because they went 5-0 out of conference, including their bowl game. But BC also came on strong down the stretch. I think that has a potential. Eagles have the potential to be a very hot team in the markets this year. We're already seeing signs of that right off the openers.
Something else that we'll talk about on tomorrow's show. Let's slow down with the Penn State hype. 39 against Akron. They weren't buying it. Akron money down to 35.
Yeah, I mean, the Nittany Lions are going to be hard-pressed to find that same ATS magic this year. Remember, this is a squad that went 9-0 against the spread in their final 9 games last year to close out the season. And James Franklin didn't have them ready in the opener last year either. And remember, they beat Kent State by 20, but they only outgained the Golden Flashes by 75 yards in that game. Bettors expecting similar struggles in the opener against the Zips this year.
A lot of good games week 1. Here's another one. Neutral site, Houston. LSU against BYU. LSU opened 8, closed 11. They played well down the stretch for Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah, they sure did. At 6-2 ATS for Ed Orgeron in that ballgame. So they finally didn't underachieve. And there really is a different level of athletes between what LSU brings to the table and what BYU brings to the table. Of course, when you talk about Darius Geis and a guy who's coming in as one of the Heisman frontrunners already, you can expect a fair bit of hype. I'm not surprised at all that LSU took money, even on a neutral site in Houston.
And 2 more. Georgia from 11-14 against App State, and NC State against South Carolina. South Carolina money down from 8 to 5.
Yeah, the Gamecocks, I mean, both these are the same story. SE schools taking money. You know, LSU, the one before that, an SE school taking money. These are not shocking things to hear. You know, when it's South Carolina, you talk about an SEC school off a down year taking money. When you talk about Georgia, I mean, we remember what App State did last year in the opener against Tennessee. They took the Vols to overtime, but then a couple weeks later at Miami week 3, largely non-competitive. Still the best, but the bottom line, even the best Sun Belt school, which App State looks to be on paper going into the season, is still going to be a 2-touchdown underdog, and the markets have said that with the early money.
Hey guys, for the full video, go to sbrpicks.com.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.